Welcome back. In our Selenium with Java series, today's topic is how we can synchronize by using Selenium. Okay, so now why is it required to have the synchronization and what is synchronization in the automation testing? So the question is that let's first understand why do we need synchronization. Okay, so any action that we perform on a browser, it takes certain amount of time, and that time normally depends on your speed or the application performance, right? Like if I'm using a good bandwidth Wi-Fi connection and the application server is fair enough in a speed, then I can get a response with X amount of time. The same thing if you are using with a mobile network, let's say, which is throttle the bandwidth, and then in that scenario it might delay for you to get the response, right? So that's where actually, but the script execution normally happens at the same flow actually. Like if I'm running a Selenium script, it will go one by one line of code, the same amount of time it will take for you as well. But the application server or the application takes different amount of time when we when it what do you call performs a certain action and then do some backend calculations. So that's where the problem comes, because your script executes normally but your application is not in sync with your execution. Okay, so then what will happen, your script might be looking for an element, but that element takes a certain amount of time to appear on the screen and your script will fail. For an instance, let's say a registration page. Okay, so here you're filling all the details, your profile details, and you're clicking on the submit button. What it does exactly, so it takes all of your data and then takes it to the your backend or the application server where it processes your data. Now this processing time might be different with my system, and it could be a different time in your system as well. Okay, now at that time if I'm clicking on the submit button and expecting a thank you for registering, then what might happen, for me, because the bandwidth is good, it might identify that particular text, thank you for registering, as normal time. But if someone is having a slow internet connection or the application is down at that moment, it might take some amount of time to display the thank you for registering text actually. Now that's where actually we need to make synchronization. So we have to wait till that text appears there. Okay, so now due to that reason actually Selenium provided different types of synchronization methods that we are going to look in today. Okay, so there are actually two types of synchronization. So but we were using actually hard wait. You would have seen thread.sleep in any of these scenarios we were doing that. But the problem with the thread.sleep is that it will wait for that hard amount of time. Let's say if I'm making it as a 30-second thread.sleep and 30 second means 30,000 millisecond. Now what will happen if your application is taking, let's say in 10 seconds it is refreshed properly, still it will wait for 20 more seconds because we have made it a hard code 30 seconds. Okay, so that is the problem. It means that we have wasted our 20 more seconds. Our script is pausing there, it's not doing anything else. So that is the problem actually. So we need to wait for the amount of time the application server is taking. Once the application sends a response, we need not wait a more time actually. We need to go to the next line of code to execute. So that is why thread.sleep is not a recommended one. Okay, but Selenium provided few more options actually. That is, like as I was telling, there are two different types. One is implicit wait and explicit wait. There is another wait is there, that is fluent wait, but we normally don't use that. We will mostly in our day to day life we will be using implicit wait and explicit wait. Okay, now let's understand what is implicit wait. So Selenium will wait for a specified amount of time to identify any element. Okay, so throughout your project, it means that you have to write a line of code which will make sure that any element, browser element you are trying to identify, if it is not appearing, it will wait for certain amount of time throughout your application actually, that one. Now let's see this in action. So for this, let me create a new file. So or maybe I will just do a copy paste, and for this I'll just create a new package and I will give this as weights. Okay, paste it here actually because I copied before, right? And here I will give implicit weight. Okay, and then let me delete this empty one. Fine. Now here let me do one thing, delete all these things. I don't need actually these things. Fine. And for this, let me go to this and use this URL. Okay. Now let me show you how do I write the command for the implicit wait. So driver dot manage dot timeouts. Okay, dot implicitly wait. Now here you need to give the duration that you want to wait if there is any issue is coming. Now I'm giving 15 seconds. Now the thing is that let's say you are trying to identify some element and it takes certain amount of time. Now let's say that it is appearing after 7 seconds, but I have given 15 seconds, right? Then it won't wait the 8 seconds more actually. Okay, it will wait only the amount of time it takes to wait for that element. Now the question comes, what happens if the element is taking more than 15 seconds? Then it won't wait a long time actually, because see, for an instance, let's say you are trying to find an element which is not even present in that screen, or maybe you are giving a wrong locator actually there. Now if I'm not giving any time, it will wait infinitely, right? And which I don't want actually, because we have to specify certain amount of limit to wait for that particular element. So I could give 15 or 20 seconds at a max for any kind of project, because it's a standard that any application that you're using and any delay would not be more than 7 seconds. But for like, because we are always automating on the non-prod environments, there could be some application server issues, or maybe there could be some of the throttling in our bandwidth as well. So we will give 15 to 20 seconds of time. Okay, now let's do one thing. I will do one thing. Let me take any one of this, or maybe I will take this particular link actually, delay. Now here let me copy paste that URL. Okay, now here one thing is that now if I click on this button actually, there will be one element will appear which might take certain amount of time. Okay, and normally it is coming in 5 seconds, but let's say that I don't know actually, sometimes it takes 5 seconds, sometimes it takes 7 seconds, sometimes it might take 10 seconds as well. Let me show you that. So if I click on this button, let's wait, 1 2 3, 4, 5. So nearly 4 or 5 seconds this particular element came. Now let's identify this element. If you see, this element ID is delay actually. Normally if I refresh, let me show you in the selectors hub, our what do you call, the tool actually. Now here if I'm making hash and then I'm making it as delay, you can see there is one element found. I will refresh this one. Now let me search this one. Now you can see zero element found. Means if I click on this button, it takes a certain amount of time for this particular element to appear. Okay, that's what we were discussing, right? If you are doing some action and then the response is nothing but the text that I want to see actually with a ID delay. Now that takes certain amount of time. Okay, so for this actually we need to automate actually. See, there is a sync issue, right? Because as soon as I'm clicking on this try me button, I'm trying to identify that element, that text actually, whatever it is coming. For an instance, let me do one thing. So I'm going to this one, and then let's try to identify this one. Inspect. So it is value is try me, right? So I'll go here. I'll do driver dot find element by dot, let's say, CSS selector, and where I'm trying to identify this one, where I will put, and this is a input text, right? So input, and here the value equal to single quote try me. So capital TRYME colon. Okay, and dot click. So I will do a dot click. Okay, now here what I want to do, this delay I want to identify this and get the text actually. So now here what I will do is out, and I will say driver dot find element by dot xpath, or maybe id only, id, and then I'm expecting delay, right? So delay is the id, and now I'm getting the text actually here. Okay, I'm not doing any wait actually, because I'm thinking that it won't take any much time. It will just click on that try me button and get the text for me. Let's see that. I think it clicked on the try me button, and now it is waiting. Okay, see, now it will give me the text actually. Why it is happening, because I have given 15 seconds. So if I don't write this one, let me just comment this one. Oops, not this one. Let me comment this one. Now in this case, if I run, it will throw me an error by saying this particular element is not present. So it clicked, it seems. And now you can see it thrown error, as I was telling. You can see on this line of code it is throwing, and if you see, it will throw no such element exception. Okay, so you can see here this element is not found. The reason is that the same thing, as soon as it is clicking on this button, it is trying to identify, but it takes certain amount of time for this button to appear. Now that is what actually, to identify that button, this line of code is really helping me. If I don't write this one, then it immediately identifies that element. Okay, so implicitly wait is only applicable when you are trying to find an element, but it takes a certain amount of time. Okay, as you can see, whenever I run this, by uncommenting this one, when I run, it just waited 5 seconds only. As soon as 5 seconds is over, this element is identified, and then it fetched the text. Even though we are saying 15 seconds, it is not waiting 10 more seconds. So that is the main difference between thread.sleep and implicitly wait. Now let's say that, as I was telling the failure scenario, for an instance, let's say that this button will never appear actually on this screen. So now I'm giving 15 seconds, right? So as I told, if it is identifying, then it will come to the next line of code. But in case if it is not identifying, okay, then how much time it will wait, that we want to see. So for this I will do two experiments here actually. So after waiting here, I will print actually this one to show you that exactly how much time it waited. So I will say start here. I will capture the time actually here. Okay, let me just do one thing. So I will keep it here actually. After clicking on that button, I will take the time actually here. So I will say new date. Okay, and it is very important for you to understand that, about the implicit wait. Okay, and then here what I will do, I'll make another wait actually after fetching this one. Here I will say new date, and this will be my end date actually here. Okay, fine. I will do one thing, or else I'll put it into the try block actually here. So let me just show you the positive scenario here. So it will capture the first time. As soon as it clicked, it will show me the time. And then once identified, it will show me the end time actually. Let's see exactly if it is waiting for 5 to 6 seconds or 15 seconds it is waiting. So it captured the start time, then it will wait some amount of time, captured, and end time. Now you can see here it's 13:21 second 2 actually. This is 2 seconds you can see here, but it is coming in 7 second here. It means that it only waited for 5 seconds only, and this is my positive scenario actually, because in 5 seconds the element got identified and it just waited this 5 seconds only. But let's say that if this element is not identifiable, so how can I do? See, if this button is not identifiable, then it will just end the execution here only, because no such element exception will come, and we can't even see the capture time actually, the end time. So for this, let me put it into a try block actually here. So inside try block, I'm keeping this one here, and then if it is identified, it will capture this time. Okay, if it didn't capture, so it will come to the catch block, right? Here I will capture this exception E, and in this actually I will be again putting this system dot new time. So if it is identified, this item will be captured this time. If let's say that this item is not identified, then it will come to the catch block, right? Now after how much time it is coming to the catch block, I wanted to show you guys. For this I want to explicitly fail this one by knowing I am failing this one actually. Okay, now let's see how much time it takes. So it captured the start time. Now it is appearing here, but I have given a wrong identification actually, locator strategy. See, it's still waiting actually. So let's see. Yeah, end time came and then it will close the browser. Fine. Now let's see how much time it is taking. You can see 46 seconds it started, and on the first second it is finished. It means that 15 seconds exactly it waited. 46 plus 15, which is nothing but 61. 61 means it is moved to another minute actually. So the difference between start and end time is 15 seconds, which I have mentioned here actually. So that is the logic actually behind identifying an element. So that's why initially I said don't give more time. In case let's say your item is not identified, or you don't have the locator proper locator strategy, like name or class name or XPath is incorrect, if you are giving more seconds, then your script will wait that much of time. And let's say that for each test case, if it is waiting for 15 to 20 seconds, and if you have 50 test cases, let's say, which you are running in sequence, then you might get nearly half an hour to 1 hour wait time unnecessarily actually. So that's why always give a reasonable amount of time. If your application is behaving properly within this amount of time, that's fair enough. If not, then only wait till the 15 seconds. So that is the rule actually, always. Okay, just to make you guys aware that, because some people might think, oh, if my element is identifying within 5 seconds, it will just come out of that wait, right? I can give 60, 70, or even 200 seconds also. But this is the problem. If the item is not identified, it will wait till that amount of time, which you don't want really. Okay, so that is the logic of the implicitly wait. So implicitly wait is really solving lot of our problems, and it is really avoiding the, what do you call, the thread.sleep problem actually, hard wait. There are situations where the implicitly wait will not help you actually. I'll give you some example here. Now see, this implicitly wait only waits for an amount of time to identify the element actually. For the driver dot find element, whatever you are doing, only for that only. I'll show you another scenario for which the implicitly wait will not work for you. So for an instance, let's say I'm doing a click me here. Now when I click on this, so if you see here, there is one button actually here, this text actually. So this text, this, if I mouse over this one, so this comes with a h2 of id2 actually. Okay, so when I refresh this, so this id2 is always identified, but the problem is that the text appears after 5 seconds. Now this is a different scenario. In this case, what used to happen, the id, the element and the text both used to appear after 5 seconds. That's why the implicitly wait worked fine. But in this case, if you see this id2, it comes in normal also, but the text appears after 5 seconds actually. So when you do driver dot find element by id2, you will be identified, but the text will not appear there because it takes 5 seconds. In this case, I cannot use the implicit wait. Let me show you that. So id is 2, right? So I'll do one thing, I'll copy this one and then paste it, and I will make it as explicit wait. Okay, some name I'm giving. Now in this case, what I'm doing, instead of try me, it is click me actually. So click me. Now let's see that is click me or not. Yeah, so you can see, I will show you that as well. So when I'm refreshing, and here let's see 2, now you can see it is identified. You can see that above element is identified, but the text is not there. Only when you click this one, after 5 seconds, the text appears. That is the problem. So now here, so I'm making it as a click me and everything remains as usual, but the text is this is id is 2, right? So here I'm making 2. So the thing is that I will click on this button, wait for, I mean the waiting will start. Now here when you say driver dot find element by id, so this comes normal only, this is identified, but the dot get text will come as null actually. Let me show you that. So here I will say text. Okay, now let me run this one with the implicitly wait only. Okay, so it is done everything. You can see, as I was telling, it did not wait a single second also. You can see 59 seconds started, 59-second ended, but the text is coming as null. But when you see here, after 5 seconds it is appearing, right? So how do I make sure that till this text is coming you wait there? I cannot do with the implicit wait actually here, because implicit wait only is helpful to wait for an amount of time to locate an element only, to identify an element. It don't wait based on any other conditions. There are certain elements, which is identified, but to click that it might take some amount of time. So the clickable event will take 1 2 3 seconds or some seconds it will take. The same thing, there are some disabled elements are there. If you open the, if you what you call load the url, I mean this is disabled, let's say. To make it enable it takes certain amount of time. The same thing, I'll give you one scenario. If you go to this, now when you're clicking on this submit button, the alert takes a certain amount of time, because I told you when you click on submit button, the entire data processes on the back end. Once it is successful you will get a alert actually. Now this is a dummy application, that's why the alert is coming at that instance, but in reality it might take some amount of time. Now how do you make sure that to wait for this alert? Because you cannot identify, see, I'm doing a right click, I cannot inspect it. So implicitly wait will not help in all of these conditions, for a text to appear, for an alert to appear, or for a disabled element to make it enable, or for a that, let's say that there is a list box is there, and this list, I mean this checkbox takes certain amount of time to make it enable actually. Now at that moment you cannot use the identification, this implicit wait, because the element is identified but its properties are not yet ready actually for you. Now at that time explicit wait is essential for you. Let me show you that. So just keep this in mind. Here you can see the text is coming as blank. We have to display the text here. Okay, fine. Now let's do one thing. So let me do first one thing here. So let's first see what is the command actually to what do you call for the explicit wait. How do we write a explicit command? For and another thing, make sure that either you use the implicit wait or explicit wait. Do not combine both actually ever. Okay. Now let's see what is the syntax. So that is webdriverwait. So Selenium provided this class actually here, and webdriverwait. I'm creating an object and wait equal to, here I will create an object and new webdriverwait which accepts two parameters. One is your driver object and second is that it is asking the duration, how we were giving in the implicit wait. Let me make it as a 15 seconds. Okay, now this is all done. Now where should I write the condition actually? Now that condition I will be writing by using a method actually. So what is the error? Let's see. Oh, okay, two times I declared. So here I can put like this. Now here inside this, instead of directly identifying or directly getting the text, what I can do, I can put wait dot until. You can see there is a until method. Inside this I will put a condition actually. Now the condition would be expected conditions dot, here I will be saying that element to be present or text to be present in element. Now here it is accepting two parameters. One is your element. What is that element? Element is actually this one. Okay, and then the text, actually what is the text that I want actually. Now that text, I'm saying that I am here. Now this is contains actually anything, I can even do a part of that particular text. Now after this, if I write this one, this line of code, so instead of beginning, I will be writing after this. Now I can able to identify this particular, or I can fetch the text, because this particular line of code will wait for this element. So text should be containing this one actually. Okay, if it is blank, let's say that for the first second, if it is blank, there is no text, it will wait actually, it will not throw me like this null actually, it will wait. So till the text is matching as I am, till that time this particular line of code will pause my execution actually, this will not come to the next line of code. Let me show you that. So let me run first this one, then I will show you all available methods actually. This is not just one method, there are so many different element, what do you call, element conditions are there, we can use it. So let me run this one. Okay, it clicked on the click me, and then it started waiting, and now you can see it should appear the text actually. See, now it is coming. Now that 5 seconds it waited, you can see 20th second it started, 25th second it identified this line of code. Now it means that this particular line of code made my test case paused for 5 seconds, because the text of this is I mean it is waiting till the text is matching with I am. Okay, now, so there are all other conditions are also there. Like I said, it is not limited to this. So let me show you all those conditions. So here, if I copy this one till this, now I'm just deleting. Now if you put dot, you can see lot of what you call conditions are there. One is alert is present, means it will wait till the alert is present. You click on any button and you are expecting an alert, but it takes certain amount of time, so you can use this alert is present. If you would have watched my previous video session, there I have explained about this already. So if I go to here, you can see we did the same thing. So this prompt dot click is basically throwing an alert, and I'm not sure how much time this alert is taking to appear there. So what I did, I made wait dot until expected conditions alert is present. Now if I mouse over this one, you can see it is returning me an alert type, which I captured into a alert object. Now this object, so this particular line of code not only waits for your alert to appear, but even switches to that alert and returning that alert, which I can capture here, and then I can perform whatever action I can do. Now if you want to relate to the complete tutorial, you can watch my previous alert tutorial, you will get to know the usage of this. So you can see now this is not a web element, so I cannot use implicitly wait. So this is the way I can wait for an alert to appear, and then I will capture that alert object as well. Fine, so this is one of other example actually here. Now the same thing, I can see, I was telling one condition, right, where you can identify the element, but to click that it might take certain amount of time. So there is one option, element to be clickable, you can see here, and it is a overloaded method actually. You can see this is a overloading method. The thing is that you can either put by locator, or you can give the element itself. By locator means this one, I can give like this, inside this whatever it is there, I can put it here. Okay, there are situations, let's say that your element is not identified at that moment, even the clickable event also takes some amount of time. So what you can do, instead of giving that web element type itself, what you can do, like I can tell you, I can show you that. So let's say that web element, I will write in a different, so let me do one thing to make it more cleaner. I will comment this one. So we understood this one, right? How we can wait for a text to appear, and then the timing and everything. Now let me show you one by one all other possible methods Selenium is providing. Okay. So let's say that web element, and then I'm saying button, some button actually here. So driver dot find element, let's say that delay actually which I was telling you, right? So if I go to here and then delay, so if I click on this try me button, there is a element is coming whose id is delay. So I'm doing like this, delay, so by dot id, and then I'm saying delay. Now it is, I'm identifying this, let's say that is a button actually. Now this button I'm clicking also, I'm clicking this button. Just take that hypothetical scenario that this button, I mean that delay button will appear after 5 seconds, and then you have to click on that. Now in this scenario definitely it will not work for you, because you can, let's say that you can use the implicit wait and you can identify this element, but to click that you might need to wait again some amount of time. So how do you do that? So what you can do, instead of this element to be clickable, and here you can put two different things. Either you can directly use this particular button, and you can use it, even you can directly, you can say dot click, you can say like this. I will show you how can we do that. So these two lines of code, which is even not working because we are not waiting here anything. But with this one line of code, you are waiting for that element, and even you are waiting for that element to be clickable. Once that button is clickable event is coming correctly, then this will return me the web element. You can see this is returning me the web element. So I don't want to assign to a button, or I don't want to again identify that button, because it is waiting and also returning me that particular element also. You can see it is even returning me this element. So as it is returning me the web element, I can perform any action. I can even do send keys, I can even fetch the text also, I can say get text. So I can do any of these things, I can even do get attribute. So all those things I can do that. Now this is also helping you to avoid stale element exception. So we will see even some Selenium exceptions also. So this is not a recommended way of doing that, because always you need to identify the element as and when you are using it. But in this case what is happening, I'm identifying the element and I'm clicking. Let's say by identifying and clicking, your DOM might have refreshed actually. So your button dot click event might throw you a stale element exception. So that's why what you can do, you can put a utility method. Inside that you write this line of code, and then whenever you are trying to click an element or you are fetching some element, what you can do, you can pass that element here, so that what it will do, at that moment instantly it will try to identify, and then it will perform the action. Okay, so that's where actually you can avoid this tail element exception, and also the no such element exception also. And also you can wait for a certain property of your element to appear, so you can get all these benefits actually. Now you might ask me a question that let's say in my test case I'm using 10 different elements, so do I need to write 10 different times wait dot until for button 1, wait dot until again for button 2? Not really. For this actually, because it will be repetitive, what you can do, you can just make a utility method, and inside that utility method you can write this statement, and you pass the parameter actually from your test case. That's how you will avoid writing multiple times this particular line of code. We will see actually in our framework designing session, we will never use driver dot find element. We will use only this element to be clickable, or the webdriverwait actually. Fine. So this is one of the way you can use it, and this is again I'm saying a demo purpose. Do not execute this line of code, because this button is not a click button actually, it is a text actually. So here let me show you some other features of this conditions, some other conditions, available conditions. So let me just do this and dot. So alert is present, we have seen. Element to be clickable, we have seen. Text to be present, we have seen already. So title is, so let's say that you are navigating to a different URL, okay, different page. Let's say you are clicking on the next button, which will move to another page actually. Now there if you see, your title changes. Now while it is moving to another page, navigating, it might take certain amount of time. Now if you say the title is, so it will wait till this title is, let's say that XYZ. Now before it was ABC, let's say that your title at this moment is ABC. Okay, ABC. Now what if you are writing this particular line of code, right? Let's say you clicked on a next dot click. I'm just giving you all hypothetical scenarios so that I can explain these methods. Let's say next is a element which you're clicking. Title at that moment is ABC. When you're clicking on next button, the title, browser title should be XYZ. Now from after you click next dot click, it takes certain amount of time to move to the next page. Now that time you can write this line of code. Wait dot until expected conditions title is XYZ. So till the browser title is not coming as XYZ, it will wait that much amount of time. So till title equal to XYZ, Selenium pauses the execution. So that is the thing actually here. Now what might happen once, let's say that your title is coming as XYZ, it means that we have now come to the next page, and here you can perform whatever you want to do. You can do whatever the action you want to do. So this is one of the way you can even use it. I think there is a URL also. Let me show you that as well. So dot URL. See, URL contains, URL matches. So like how we are doing the title, browser title, the same thing it will throw the URL contains also. So till this URL contains this particular text URL, it will be waiting. For an instance, let's say that I'm in home page, which is demo, right? If I'm coming to the sign up, you can see from demo it came to the demo sign up. So till it is not appearing as a sign up, you wait there. So that is what this line of code will be doing for you. Fine. So these are all waiting mechanisms based on a condition actually there. Let's see what else methods are there. Okay, so let me show you what else methods that is most essential for us. You can see attribute contains. This is again very nice feature. Like let's say we were only taking title is URL contains or the display text, right? Let's say there is a class name which is ABC. Now the class name should be XYZ for a particular element, and I mean it's for a dynamic elements. Let's say that you want to wait for that element to change actually to a different class name attribute, so you can use this one actually. You can use the attribute contains. Again it is overloaded. Either you can use the, so you can see either you can use the locator. Now first is that the locator of that element. Now string attribute class name, let's say that, and value, whatever value you are expecting actually that particular class name to change, that you can mention here. So till the class name equal to this value it is not appearing, your Selenium will pause the execution there. Okay, like this you can do. There is one more element also which I like this one. Let's say visibility of the elements, visibility of a element. Let's say that there is a element which is not visible at this moment. It takes certain amount of time to make it visible, so you can use this property. Now what Selenium will do, it will check first the visible property is false or not. So till it is false it will pause your execution. Once the visibility is becoming true, it will go to the next line of code. The same thing, there is visibility of all elements. Let's say that you are clicking on a button, and which will give you that there are 5 different text boxes should appear. Now these are different input elements, right? So you can mention here like this. So here you can do like this, by dot tag name, and you can say input. So all the inputs which is present in your screen, till that is an appearing, you wait till that much of time. Okay, basically visibility of elements, it is You have to give the web element only. So I can do like this actually. So I can write like this, web element, and this should be list of web element because multiple elements I'm waiting. Okay, so list of web element, I will say that inputs equal to, I will type this one, driver dot find elements by dot tag name, and here I will say input, and I will put it here, and this one I will put inside. Okay, and let me import this one. So like this you will be using it. I think I need to give another bracket. Fine. So what this will do, till, I mean, this will pause your execution till all the input elements will be visible on your screen. Let's say that there are three input elements are visible, but fourth one is not visible at this moment. The visibility property is false. So till all the elements are visible on the screen, it will wait for your screen actually, or it will pause the execution. It will not go to the next line of code. Fine. So that is what actually you can use it. There are all other properties are also there. There is one nice feature I will show you. So let me show you that. So let's say that you have a refresh, actually you are refreshing a page. You will see there is a bg loader is coming. Always there is a spinner which spins actually on your screen, and till the spinner is coming your page is not yet refreshed actually. So how will you use that? Now in that case, now manually let's say that you are refreshing your page. So till that spinner is visible, you will think that it is processing, your application is processing. Once the pg loader goes off, once that is disappearing, your page is loaded. That is something which we all know, right? How do you handle that in the automation actually? So you can put, there is a invisibility of elements. You can see invisibility of element means till this element is visible you wait it. It is always work on the reverse order. So till it is invisible you wait it. So let me just, I will be writing, so inside this it will accept, let's see what is that. So it accepts a web element only. So I will do like this, I will say web element, and I will say bg loader equal to driver dot find element, and here I will say by dot id, let's say spinner. Okay, spinner. Now here I'm identifying, so here I'm saying that here like this. Now another bracket, now this one. Now what this line of, these two lines of code will do, so this will basically wait till the spinner goes away, or disappears, invisibility of this element. So till this element is not invisible, means till it is visible, you wait it. Once this is gone or invisible, that particular element, you go to the next line of code, you do something here, whatever you want to do. So this is again another use case of invisibility of element. And it is mostly, as I told, whenever you are trying to rephrase something, you can use this particular method actually. Fine. So there are all other methods are also available, like as I was showing you expected conditions, put a dot, you will see all available methods actually there. Fine. Now how does exactly this works actually, this particular what you call invisibility of element or whatever it is, how does this particular line of code is really waiting for a false condition actually? I mean till it is false it waits. Once it is becoming true, it comes out of the loop actually. Let me show you that. Let me delete this one. Let's go with this line of code. Okay, now here let me go inside this actually. Now what is exactly happening, let's see. So it is accepting the element for sure, what element we have provided. What it is doing, you can see there is a overridden method actually, and that is expected condition web element. I told you it will wait for that element to be clickable, and it returns me that element also. The return type is web element. So I am basically what you call overriding this expected conditions method actually here. How am I doing? There is a apply is a method inside this apply method basically loops actually, it goes in a looping. Now till when, you can see visibility of that element. So first it checks whether the visibility of that element. So till this particular element is visible, so here it is coming. Now it is capturing the visibility element, whether it is true or false or something. If it is not null, you return that. If it is null, it is coming to the catch block. So let's say that for the first second it is null actually. I mean, it's throwing some exception. It is coming to the catch block. So it is going as null. Now, when this apply is getting this null, it will again what you call the same apply method only. Till when? Till this returns not null, this particular apply will be keep on running actually. And the time is the time of wait for each time. It is 0.5 second. It will be polling every time. So for the first time, for the first 0.5 second, it will call this method. Now this is throwing an exception for sure, because for the first half second it will not give me proper result. The clickable event you can see is enabled, so it is checking whether the element is enabled or not to click. So it is throwing an error because the clickable event is not proper. Now it is coming to the catch block, so it is returning null. So apply now taking this null. Now it will wait again for 0.5 second. Now it will again call. So now let's say for a particular amount of time, let's say after 5 seconds, means 10 times this particular apply method will be calling, because every 5 seconds, every 0.5 second, this particular method will be calling this apply. Now, at what moment this is returning a non not null, then it will be coming out of this apply loop, and then it won't again recheck it. So that is the logic actually. We will use this. I mean, we will create our own methods also. We will override this what you call webdriverwait, and we'll make our own customized method. So I will show you in our upcoming session. Till then, you just try to practice and utilize all of these methods, whatever available with expected conditions. Now, one last thing I want to show you. Let's say that this particular button is not identified even after waiting this 15 seconds, because see, now this particular element to be clickable method will wait for 0. I mean, every time it will poll for 0.5 seconds. Now, for an instance, let's say within 5 seconds this button is identified, it came out of the loop. Let's say this button is not identified even after 15 seconds. 15 second means 30 times it called that apply method, and still it is not coming. So it will throw you a timeout exception actually. Timeout exception. It will not throw you the what do you call the no such element exception, because no such element exception is resolved when an element is not identifiable. Here element is identified, but the clickable event is not coming proper. So that is why it is throwing timeout exception, because it is waiting for certain amount of time, right? So any expected conditions, if it is not satisfying within the limit actually whatever you are providing, after that it will throw you timeout exception. That is what one thing you need to always keep that in mind. Fine. Okay, so that's pretty much it. So hope this session is helpful. Do subscribe to this YouTube channel and stay tuned for more topics. Thank you.